Good morning, everyone. I'm going to call the regular council meeting of Wednesday, December 6th to order at 9:05 a.m. With that, I will do a roll call. I have a roll call.
Mayor Natalie,
Here.
Councillor Collins,
Here.
Councillor Florence,
Here.
Councillor Kwiat,
Here.
Councillor Pigeon,
Here.
Councillor Rodnick,
Here.
Councillor Sidoc.
Here. Thank you. I'm doing the land acknowledgement now. We acknowledge that we are gathered on the unceded traditional territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people, specifically the Madawaskini people of the Madawaska River. We further acknowledge that the Algonquin people have been stewards of this land since time immemorial, and we strive to treat the land, along with the flora and fauna it supports, the people, their customs and traditions, with honor and respect. Today, this area is home to people of all walks of life, and we acknowledge the shared opportunities and responsibilities to live, work, and survive within this beautiful territory. Shimmikwich, all my relations. Are there any additions or amendments to the agenda? Okay. Seeing none, I will ask for a move and a seconder for the adoption of the agenda. I'll move it. Councillor Collins, seconded by Councillor Sidoc. Tracy?
The Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin adopts the agenda as circulated for the regular council meeting of December 6th, 2023.
Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest for this meeting today? Okay. Seeing none, I'll move on to our delegations and presentations. We have Forbes Simon with us this morning from JP2G Consultants. Again, the senior planner, and he's going to lead us through this statutory public meeting for the official plan, the amendment and the update. So with that, and welcome. Nice to have you back again.
Thank you very much, Brett.
I know it was a long drive.
It's always a pleasure to come up here.
Thank you.
So this is now the formal public meeting under Section 17 of the Planning Act for the consideration of what we're calling the red line draft official plan update. This is an opportunity for members of the public to give formal comment on the draft. We did have two open houses last week, one during the day and one in the evening, that were fairly well attended, and we did get some comments that came out of that. We're asking that the members of the public that have comments to make, if they could make them in writing, it's much more helpful, and it's easier to track than verbal. Well, that's not to say people can't give verbal comments today, and they'll be recorded accordingly. If we could have comments, council, from the members of the public by the 22nd of this month, that would be very, very helpful. We have had one formal written submission already, and we anticipate that there's maybe some more. I'm going to just give you a little bit of a background into the process from here on in, and then I will step aside, and any members of the public who want to talk, I think should have a right to be able to present them. So we did get some direction and comments at the open houses. They've been recorded. Our hope is that we will prepare a report for you with a summary of all the comments that have been received, including the verbal comments that we've got from the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, with recommendations to council on how to act or respond to those comments, and what changes we think are appropriate to the red line discussion draft based on those comments. Then council would consider that report likely in February. And we would present it to staff in January, mid-January, with the idea that we would get direction from you to say yay or nay to the suggested changes. And then at that point in time, it would be in a position to present to you likely in March for adoption. Once the official plan is adopted by council, it then gets forwarded to the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing for final approval. We're hoping that that will happen quickly, given the amount of work that they've already put into the document, the reviews and the consultation they've had. But you never know how long these things can take. So that's the process going forward. One of the things that I wanted to highlight for council today is that both Anthony and I have heard you loud and clear that one of the issues that is a challenge for council is the minimum lot size and the need for hydrogeologic studies. We've given a fair amount of thought to this, and we're prepared to try some innovative policies in terms of allowing for 1 acre lot sizes without hydrogeologic studies in certain conditions. In the rural area, it's easier than in the hamlets. In the rural area, we can have separation distances of new lots. In the hamlet area, one of the things that I'm trying with one of my municipalities is using a sort of a buffer around new lots that are created in hamlets, and that you're looking at density within that buffer. And if you have say, less than 7 houses within that buffer area, you may not need to do a hydrogeologic study. These policies that I've tried elsewhere are not policies that have been vetted by the province, and it will be something that we're going to have to think about and work at to see if we can get the province to approve them. But I think that they're worth a try, and I think that it's something, again, the report that we will give to you on the recommended changes will present this option to you in some detail. But I think that it's something we have to make an effort at and see if we can get it through. The other thing that I want to stress with council is that the official plan is just one of the planning documents that you have, and it requires provincial approval. The other planning document you have is your zoning bylaw, and that's local approval. And certain things can be accomplished in the zoning bylaw that are more challenging to get accomplished in an official plan. And so there are ways that things can be achieved and dealt with in the zoning bylaw with general wording in the official plan. And so that's another thing to keep in mind as we're going forward, that the official plan isn't the be all and the end all of planning, that you have this other document that's used much more regularly and by the building inspector, and we can achieve certain things with that we don't necessarily get done with the official plan. Are there any questions of me at this time?
Is there any member of council have any questions for?
Were you able to look up the wording to change with regards to severance on a non-municipally maintained road?
Some private roads. I've done a fair bit of thinking about that. I will always caution council about allowing new lots to be created on private roads. That said, I work with two other municipalities that allow for new lots to be created on private roads, provided those private roads are identified as being capable of handling fire trucks and ambulances. And I will be presenting to you a policy recommendation that allows for that to happen. It would not allow for the creation of new private roads, but existing private roads that are used and there is development on those private roads. We can certainly consider a lot creation in those situations. Typically, it would mean that the lands would go into a limited service rural zone that recognizes that they're not publicly maintained and that they're not going to get the full scope of services. And it is quite often recommended that there be an agreement that acknowledges the fact that they are on a private road with limited services, that's registered on the title of the property, so that successive owners are made aware at the time of purchase. Quite often, those things get overlooked at the time of purchase, but if there's an agreement that includes a hold harmless statement against the municipality, it is working in other jurisdictions, and I think that we could introduce it here. Again, that means the province has to approve that policy change, but it is successful in other jurisdictions, and we would point to that as rationale to be able to do it. But I think that as a planner and giving you advice, new lot creation on private roads is not the preferred model.
Unfortunately, that's the only way that our township is going to be able to grow, because that's where the land is.
I understand.
Allow division or subdivision, etc.
And I understand that.
Well, through the mayor, I was gonna ask you, what about Crown? Because a lot of our private roads access over Crown, so how does that work when we're a severance? They would have to be notified at some point, right?
So Crown roads, I've only dealt with that situation once, and it requires notification of the Ministry of Natural Resources, and they have to agree to allow additional access permissions onto that private road. If they are non-Crown roads, it's much easier, but if they are Crown roads, it does trigger the need to involve the Ministry of Natural Resources.
And I wanted to bring that up so everyone could hear that, because a lot of our, especially Avon Lake area, a lot of them access over Crown. So that's something else that.
A lot, I think all of them do.
Yeah, I think so too.
Other than
Stop
permit.
The one thing about the Crown roads that's different than what I call a private road. So a private road is, there's a road that goes over my property, and the six of you have rights to go over my property to get to your cottage lots, right? That's what I call a typical private road. That's usually requires a right of way that's registered on the title of my property that benefits you as cottage owners. With a Crown road, it's public lands, right? And there isn't typically a formal right of way over the Crown road, but the Crown has to say, yes, there can be another lot created down at the lake, and more people can go over this Crown road.
Those,
Go ahead, Joe.
in the case of Avon Lake, most, if not all, of those cottages were built on land that was developed by the Ministry of Natural Resources for sale for cottages. And they must have been granted access to them at the same time.
Yes, Yes, I would agree with that 100%. I would agree that as part of the province opening up Crown land and selling it for development, they had to also consent to say, and this logging road can be used to get access to it, right? That's understood. The issue becomes opening up new lands or additional private lands or severing existing private lands that would then have new use on it. But the point is, council, where the policy is restrictive now, I think that there's an option to change that. Given the input and the discussions we've had over the last year about this, I think there's an option to allow for that policy to be opened up a little bit more and allow things to happen that with the current writing of the plan wouldn't happen. Is that fair? And again, that would be something that we would detail in this next report with recommended changes to the red line.
Thank you.
Any other members of council?
You mentioned that there would be no allowance for new roads of that nature over Crown land. But when the land claim is settled, we're likely going to have requests for a lot of it.
And that's a very fair point. My experience is that there's very few new Crown roads being created today, that they are a legacy. If you create a new private road, so if I wanted to, if I've got a chunk of lake and I want to create some lots along the lake, if I create a new private road over my property, now it has to be a private element condominium road. And that's something that the province is quite firm on. And it's a good idea. It's a process. It allows for new private roads to be created, but they have to be created a certain way. Once the land claim happens, then and Crown lands are transferred, those are no longer Crown lands. And that will be a matter for the new owner to figure out how and under what terms and conditions they will allow new roads over their property. Right now, that's dictated by the Crown, how we can create new roads over their property. When the ownership gets changed, it will be the new owners. And I fully anticipate that as part of land claim settlement, that there would be a need for the township to work with the First Nation communities to revise and update your official plan, to work with them as partners, to come up with policies that allow for things to happen and that you're both going to benefit from that.
If my memory serves me correctly, Forbes, I believe that at the time of transference of the lands to the Algonquin land in the land claim, that the province is going to address any OPA requirements, and they will summarily make the changes and send them to us.
There you go. It may be that there's additional work that needs to be done though.
Yes.
Right? That there will be a new vision for the property. There'll be a new vision for the community. And you will be a stakeholder at that table, right? And I think from what I've seen, you've worked very hard at establishing a positive relationship. And once the dust gets settled, I'm sure that after the provinces wave their magic wand, there's going to be additional work that needs to be done.
Well, my guess right now is even if there's some talk about Crown land with the Ministry of Natural Resources, they're going to say you have to discuss this with the AOO and or an A&R,
Yeah.
all these people, there's gonna have to be this type of discussion before
Yeah.
anything gets done.
I would agree with you on that.
Yeah.
But that's very hard to capture right now in this document. There's still a fair bit of unknown, I think, in terms of the land claims and exactly when and how and what.
Any other questions or comments from members of council? I've not seen anyone. Go
I have
ahead.
just
Councillor
an
Collins.
addition. Should we not have in the official plan, in the event of the land claim being settled, the making of new roads is going to be part of it. Should we not include that rather than have to go through the whole process and change everything? Because fingers crossed that's going to happen within the next 10 years.
That's a good question. I think that the official plan, there's an opportunity to have aspirational wording about the fact that there's going to be changes that happen in land use planning as a result of the land claims.
Okay, that would work, yes.
But what those specifics were, I think it would be like throwing a dart in the dark.
No, but just to leave that
I
as
think
an
if there
open
was
statement.
aspirational wording about land claims and the need to revisit the official plan at that time, to work with the new owners, I think that's quite reasonable.
Okay. Okay, with no further comments from members of council, and go to the public. Is there any comments from any member of the public in attendance? Any questions? No? Steve, Ian? Are there any questions from anyone on YouTube? Do we have anyone?
We have Charlene on there, and Charlene, do you have any questions about the official plan?
No, I don't.
Thanks, Charlene.
If I can have one last opportunity to
Certainly.
kick at the can, and it's back to the minimum lot sizes. I just did some quick calculations here, and according to the municipal bylaws and the Ministry of Health, you need about 10,000 square feet for a well and a septic system on a lot to have the proper clearances. So an acre is about 43,000 feet, so in an acre, conceivably, under our regulations, you could have 4 different wells and septic systems and still have proper clearance on them all. Now, somehow that logic doesn't translate to the provincial government that lays down the minimum lot sizes. Because they're used to municipal water systems and municipal sewage systems. They just don't understand. Like it only requires 50 feet from a drilled well to a septic bed. And the new septic beds, they're only 16 feet by 16 feet. So if you have 10 feet of lot clearance from the well to the property line and 10 feet from the edge of the septic system, that's only like 80 feet. So I'm pretty lenient by saying that 100 feet, like 100 by 100.
You're absolutely correct that under the building code, which dictates setbacks for wells and septics in the zoning bylaw, coming from the building code, 10,000 square feet works, actually, that you can get them, seen them down to 6,000 square feet. The issue is that the criteria that's being used for the creation of new lots isn't about setbacks. It's about the septic affluent, the outflow from the bed has to meet performance criteria at the lot line. And it's that there cannot be any more than 10 milligrams of phosphorus and nitrate going from your leaching bed over a lot line. If it does, that's deemed to be polluting neighboring properties. So it's not the setbacks, councillor, it's the outflow from the bed that is dictating a greater lot size. And if you've got, a clay soil, right, you can get down to 6,000 square feet because the water really doesn't flow, right? You got sandy soil, you can have smaller lot sizes. You got bedrock, you can't, because the effluent hits the bedrock and then runs to lot line. What has happened historically is that it was demonstrated scientifically that in the province of Ontario, if your lot is 1 hectare in size, that you will not exceed 10 milligrams per liter at the lot lines with the effluent, no matter what happens.
That's
Whether it's-
absolutely not correct though, because they don't describe the design of the lot. So what people are doing is they're creating lots 100 feet wide. So you're only 100 feet from the house beside you if they're both in the center of the lot. So you haven't increased the distance between the lots at all, because they're creating lots 100 feet by 500 or 600 feet deep. If they were like 400 feet square, I would.
I was just, Counselor, I was just explaining the facts and the science and the rationale
But it's
behind the
not
lots.
science. It's just
The
they.
rationale to create the 1 hectare was scientifically based. How that's been interpreted and manipulated over time and in other jurisdictions is not science. And you're absolutely right. 1 hectare can be a square box or it can be narrow and long. And it doesn't achieve the same results of a narrow and long versus a square box. You're absolutely right about that. But the science based on the 1 hectare is solid, assuming that it's a square box. There are many jurisdictions that, in addition to saying lot size, say that the length of a lot can't be any greater than 3 times the width of the lot, which stops that scenario that you're talking about from being created. Many jurisdictions have that in their official plan. What I'm suggesting, sir, is that there's maybe another way that we can address lot sizes. I've committed to you at the beginning of my talk this morning about coming forward with some changes to the red line draft that I think are worth working out and putting in place so that we can get smaller lot sizes in certain circumstances. The other reality is that $7,000 or $8,000 for a hydrogeologic study is now a relatively modest amount of money for the value of the lots that are being created today. That study 10 years ago represented half of the value of the lot. It's not half of the value of the lot anymore. You can invest more into creating a lot today than you could 10 years ago because the value of the lot's greater. I know down my way in Lanark County, there isn't a severed lot that's going for less than $100,000 today. That may be different up here as well, but that lot up here is still much more valuable today, and you can invest money into it. And doing a hydro-G isn't the worst thing that can happen in the world. You still have to invest money to make money. But I am going to come forward with some options for you to minimize the need to do hydrogeologic studies and allow for smaller lots to be created. Again, with full knowledge that this has to be approved by the province. And so I'm going to try to word it in such a way that it gives you more of what you're looking for and also has a hope of getting approved by the province. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, any other comments? Questions, no? Okay, with that, I will, entertain a motion, to close the public meeting of council for draft official plan. If I get a mover and seconder, I'll get Tracy to read the resolution.
I'll move to close the. Like,
Thank you, Councillor Vaughn. Need a seconder? Council. Tracy?
That council for the corporation of the township of South Algonquin closes the public meeting of council for the draft official plan amendment update and requests a planner's report outlining recommended revisions from the ministry review and comments from the plant public.
Duly moved and seconded. Any speakers, Sean? Councillor Pichon?
I'll leave it. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, it's been moved and seconded. Okay, so that's okay. Any other comments? Seeing none, I'm gonna call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously.
Mayor, is there anything else that I could assist council with today, or shall I have my leave?
Well, I'll ask members of council. From my perspective, you can take that long drive back.
Oh, again, it's a beautiful sunny day.
It is, yes, it is. So,
Yes.
seeing none, thank you very, very much.
Appreciate you coming
Thank
out.
you.
Yeah, we really do.
It's,
It's nice
it
to
is
see somebody
always a
first.
pleasure coming up here. And, working with you to try to have a very prosperous community going forward.
Okay, well, appreciate all the work that you and
All right.
Anthony have done.
Thank you.
Safe
Merry-
drive back.
Merry Christmas to you
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Very good.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. We're moving on to the adoption of the minutes of the regular council meeting of November 1st. Looking for a mover and a seconder.
I'll move it.
Moved by Councillor Florent, seconded by Councillor Rodnick.
The council for the corporation, the township of South Algonquin adopts the minutes of the regular council meeting of November 1st, 2023 as circulated.
Okay, and duly moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously.
I don't know if I can vote, can I? Because I wasn't there?
I think you can.
You can
It's
vote,
just Not a
you can
good
vote.
idea to move it
Move
in a
it,
second.
yeah.
Yeah, you can vote.
I'm good.
Okay,
She was an idiot.
Yes.
and I'm looking for a mover and a seconder to adopt the minutes of the asset committee meeting of November 15th.
I can move that.
Moved by Councillor Sidoff, second by Councillor Pigeon.
The council for the corporation of the township of South Algonquin adopts the minutes of the asset management committee meeting of November 15th, 2023 as circulated.
Been duly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously. The next resolution, I'm looking for a mover and seconder to adopt the minutes of the waste management committee meeting of November 15th.
I'll do that again.
Moved by Councillor Florence, second by Councillor Collins.
The council for the corporation of the township of South Algonquin adopts the minutes of the waste management committee meeting of November 15th, 2023 as circulated.
Been duly moved and seconded. No discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously. Next resolution is a mover and a seconder for the minutes of the special council meeting of November 22nd. Mover. Councillor Quia. Councillor Rodney.
The council for the corporation of the township of South Algonquin adopts the minutes of the special council meeting of November 22nd, 2023 as circulated.
Been duly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Councillor Florence.
I mentioned to Tracy before the meeting that I think she's already made the corrections, about the people that were present, because of most of you were here on Zoom. This leads you to believe that everybody was in the chambers.
Okay.
I think she's made the corrections on
I have it.
Okay, good point, thanks, Councillor Floyd. Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously. Well, those are quick. We have committee staff and council reports. Which one are we doing first? Committee? What do we have there? Maybe I'll-
Charlene.
Charlene? Are you with us, Charlene?
Yes, it helps if I remember to unmute myself.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Does anyone have any questions for me?
Any questions for Charlene? You're getting off easy today, Charlene. I just wanted to say, Charlene, unfortunately, I have to be out of town, so I am unable to attend the Indigenous program with Gary Pritchard on Sunday. I can't make it back in time.
All right.
Any other, no comments, questions? Okay, thank you, Charlene. Have a great holiday.
Good. And I do also, on behalf of Cynthia, I want to thank the township for the support that she has been shown. She's very appreciative.
Thank you. We hope she's doing well.
It'll be a bit of a long haul, but she's in good humor.
Great, that's good news. Keep us posted, please.
I will. Thanks. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you. Public Works and Roads Department, Stephen. Morning, how are you doing?
Does anybody have any questions regarding your report I put together?
Very concise. Any questions or comments for Stephen?
I'm assuming that the round grader has gone back.
It is, yeah, it was picked up December 2nd.
Did
Got
you,
back in our grader's been repaired since, and we've installed the wing for snow plowing if we need there, so it's prepped up and seems to be running fine.
okay.
Mhm.
Did you inquire whether or not that grader would be available for a couple of months for you next year?
They have graders, we got from Grade Equipment, so they have numerous graders that are set, ready to go. If the township ever did decide to just lease it throughout the year, so.
Would it be advantageous in the spring to lease it for another month or for a month so you can get the grading done more quickly across the whole township? Is it something that you think would be of value?
Potentially, you have to look at the cost, I guess, to see if it would be worth it. Cause they rent them out on a monthly rental.
Mhm.
So you'd have to look at the comparison of the cost versus the time you're going to spend, you're going to gain on getting your roads graded up. Potentially, but it would add additional cost to the budget sort of thing. Mhm.
Any other questions or comments for Stephen?
I have one more question. I think there's one more. It's regarding those signboards at Tom and McMurray Park. I'm assuming that we're working on getting those letters that the Ministry of Natural Resources is looking for.
I believe so, yes. I know Ethel mentioned that she was reaching out to some contacts for that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I reached out to the chief of Golden Lake, Algonquin, and through him I asked to, because he's got a connection with Jim Manasseh, the AO. Here's the problem that I kind of ran into. I sent a message to the chief, and they have been under emergency in terms of the drug opioid situation down there, and he had just lost his brother. I don't say that it's because of opioid, but his brother passed away, so he's had down in that reserve, they've had 2 or 3 deaths in a very short period of time. So I thought I would give them just a little bit of leeway to take a breath. And then I will contact him again. So yeah, it hasn't been forgotten. Call is in.
There's no big rush because obviously we can't do it now till May probably.
Yeah, exactly. It's just really frustrating, but
It is
at the end of the
because I
day,
think we originally had those letters when we originally
you know.
started the planning of this.
Well, I know Ed Lenz did a horrendous amount of work, and we assumed everything was okay, right? But I think the chief, Greg Sarzan, just needs a little bit of breathing room right now.
I just wanna public want to say thank you for helping us. And, with all the tree and, providing us with the extension cords that were needed and, such, and for also helping, with Sandy Nicholas and cleaning up the Lake Shore Drive. It looks great.
Yeah, no problem. We'll try to keep that cleaned up now that it's brushed. Try to keep on top of it now. Something else that I've sort of implemented down at the yard is every morning I've got all scheduled for the halls, senior center, the library. That's all posted down at the yard, and every morning we review with the guys, just to see if there's any events going on. Make sure if they're sanding and plowing, that we'll stay on top of it before those events occur and go in.
That's great. What about, may I ask, how did the first snow plowing go?
Good.
No.
Yeah, the roads are stiffened up now, but the long range right now is calling for a lot of rain this
Yeah.
coming weekend.
Yeah.
But so far, so good. All the snowplow equipment's running, and I think we have a new operator. He's getting onto his route pretty good now. So
I received favorable comments about, you know, the plowing and that. I just wondered from your perspective how it's going. That's really good.
Yeah.
Company
So far,
to
so
hear. Yeah. I did have, Councilor Pisha, go ahead.
Yes, I want to thank you for clearing that parking area, the South of Kenny Lake Road. Up on the hill, so now people don't have to park down, up the snowplow turn around.
yeah.
One thing I did notice yesterday is the no parking sign. Did you see the condition that's in?
No,
You can barely read it.
so it should be replaced.
It should be replaced.
Okay, that's something we can look at.
Yeah, I happened to be there yesterday because I was looking at a gated laneway, actually, and I'm not sure exactly where that gated laneway is going, but when I was turning around, I looked at the no parking sign, I kind of went, how it's missing? Like some of the other signs in the township, right?
Yeah, which is in the report as well. We had all the sign tests done this year, so we've got a few quotes with all the signs that failed. So we can know for next year which ones should be looked at for getting replaced or not.
So what is happening with these signs?
So they need to meet it's a retro reflectivity test. And it has to be done annually or every 16 months it has to be done. And they come in, they got a scanner that checks the reflection off the signage. If it does not pass, they also check the condition of the signs as well. If it doesn't pass the inspection, it should be replaced, sort of thing. So those signs, when they're built to different grades. I think there's an engineer grade sign as well as another type of grade. And based on who you got your signage from, they warranty those grades of sign for so many years. Say Avon Lake Road, that was recently done a few years ago. Some of those signs have failed their retro reflectivity tests.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
Are you talking about on the Lake Road itself?
the new
signs. Okay,
So some of these should be able to get replaced under warranty by the contractor that did the work for us. So,
because I noticed that throughout the township that a lot of the signs are failing. And I thought it was because, at first, when you start looking at them, I thought it was because of birds hanging onto them, right? Well, all the tops are going on them, okay, it must be the birds, right? But obviously it's not, because it's happening all throughout the township, right?
yeah,
So, Sean, what happened a few years ago, the provincial legislation in Ontario, Reg 23902, which establishes, we've established our minimum maintenance standards in accordance with that regulation. That regulation was changed to include a requirement because of insurance liabilities, I'm assuming, related to ensuring your signage has a certain reflectivity capacity. Last year was the first time that we undertook that study municipally. So there was a significant fail rate because it was the first time and nobody done any of the work. And then with the changes in staffing and the shortage in staffing and the work going on last year, none of that got incorporated into budgeting. None of that got incorporated into the work plans for staff last year. So when we did it this year, as they already knew with a large number of them, they said, yeah, we already know any that failed last year are going to fail again this year. So they just retested then any that hadn't failed last year. And then they gave us the new report with the update of all of the ones that had failed.
It's not just our signs, though. I noticed on Monday, I was out plowing snow with my backhoe, so I'm going by the signs slowly. And the signs on Highway 60 are just as bad as that. Like they're all alligators and like, they're really deteriorating rapidly.
Mhm.
We want it to fit
That
some
must be something with the material what they're using.
salt and we have a variety of
Way
things.
there.
We had issues with our street signs before,
We still do.
we still do, and when I contacted the company that we got them from, and they said that birds will pick at them.
All of them?
Yep.
Because that's what my first assumption was, it was from birds. Perching
They
on
sit
them.
on them and then I guess they.
Well, there's a sign at the end of my street that every time I come out there, I see that it's worse than the day before, and I've never seen a bird on that.
Really? Mhm.
So are we getting, do we have any kind of a warranty on that, or they're just saying tough luck?
They said we could try a tougher, coating on them, which we did for the last batch we ordered, but I believe that it didn't work.
It didn't work either. So
Because
what
we
do you
replaced a lot, was it last summer, I think the summer.
So do we
before.
try looking for a different supplier then, possibly?
So I got quotes from two different suppliers, Beacon Light in Ottawa, as well as BMR, which usually does a lot of our signage. And both of them, they go back to your sign criteria, and there's different grades of sign.
Yeah.
And I think there's two different grades, one being a little bit higher than the other one. And I think one of them has a 7-year warranty, and the other's, I think, a 10-year warranty on the signage.
At a cost.
Yeah, it would be an increased cost, but both suppliers have the same criteria that they build the sign to, sort of thing.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you, Stephen.
Yep.
Ian, how are you? Welcome.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
With regard to my recent report, I realised in the shower the other day, of course, there was one minor omission on it. The fact that Chief Tom and I attended the Remembrance Day service on the 11th of November. Other than that minor omission, any questions on the report?
Any questions? Fire chief? That's
Thank you very
good.
much. Have a great day.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hold on, I do have a question. And this is regarding private roads, and I don't know if you can answer my question, or if Tracy can answer my question, but who deems a private road not accessible by emergency services? So the cottage is on fire and you get the phone call and you can't get to that cottage.
Yeah.
So you should know beforehand that you can't get to that cottage, should you not?
Yes, that would be, or have a benefit, house, home, cottage, whatever, yes, no, it's, there was a situation at, excuse me, Cross Lake, last year, where fortunately the homeowner at the very last moment managed to get the fire out themselves. We would not have been able to get any of our major fire appliances to that cottage. The only the vehicle that we managed to get in there was the Ford 350, and it got in all right. We had terrible trouble getting it out. There was no turnaround at the end, and it was a very, very long lane with trees immediately each side of the road. And I had to reverse the truck back out and fold the mirrors in because there was no way it was going, because you're now steering from the rear and not from the front.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it took me longer to get, about 3 times the length of time to come out than it did to go in. A member of the public living down there offered to assist me with doing a review as to the accessibility of some cottages. And I failed this year to follow that through with them and go down and do a review of other properties that like for like. With regard to big properties on Alien Lake, in their newsletter, I mentioned to them that if they wanted fire vehicles to get to their property, I need 12 foot wide or 12 foot high to guarantee accessibility of vehicles. It's left entirely up to the people to ensure that their property is accessible to us. I take your point to know a lot of the firefighters in the township know where all the properties are, and even, excuse me, I'm having trouble. Know instantly, you know, roughly where the properties are, and whether or not we are or are not going to have difficulty getting to that property with some of our major equipment. Yeah.
I wonder if it would be private insurance. You know, I mean, obviously they're paying insurance for that, if they would have some kind of criteria that would have to be met.
The only, I mean, like all of us here, you know, I have my own property insurance, but the only question I can remember on taking out the new property insurance is, what's your proximity to your fire?
That's
right.
They don't
Fire,
actually
yeah.
ask whether the fire hall can get to you, just
Yeah.
how close it is.
Right.
So yeah, it is, with regard to the budget, on that very same subject, you know, preempting the issue, I will be putting a report forward to council to consider next year for the purchase of what I call a remote access vehicle. Some other people would call it a side-by-side, but I mean, it would enable us to carry portable fire pumps, the wildfire hose packs, you know, and at least get to somebody where, you know, if they only drive a town car, shall we say, to it, you know, and the aperture is really tiny, at least we will be able to get into it. You know, accessing on land, you know, we do not, as you know, access anything on water. But yeah, and I've had 3 or 4 instances where now, you know, accessing stuff it can get very, very difficult. And yes, a tree-lined avenue looks very, very nice, and they drive their car or even their SUV in and out. But the fire appliances, you know, are much bigger than that, which is why we go with the aperture of 12 by 12.
So this should be known to the property owners that it's up to them if they're gonna have a private road, they're gonna have to maintain it.
Yeah.
If fire services or, for instance,
That is-
an ambulance, not just fire services, but EMS in general, right? Because I was on a private road yesterday, and my truck, my mirrors were hitting, and there was actually with the snow load, there was a tree coming across the road. And it was brushing the roof of my truck.
Yeah.
So to get a fire vehicle or an ambulance into there, which an ambulance is much wider, that's not gonna happen.
It probably wouldn't happen anyway because the ambulances are not 4-wheel drive, and we turned out last year to a call to pull the ambulance out of the snow, where they tried to get to the house to aid the person, and in the end we took the ambulance crew. We managed to get around the ambulance, took the ambulance crew to the house. I mean, fortunately, the person wasn't badly injured, I think, but and then brought the person out and back to the ambulance, having then got the ambulance out of the snow because they couldn't even get up the driveway. In fact, I think we had 2 instances last winter where that occurred. You know, they have a lot of problems with access with the ambulances.
That's what we're getting back to with the motor vehicle. Yeah, thank you.
Any questions or comments? Well, thank you very, very much.
You're welcome. Have a great day, everybody.
report.
Thank you.
Yeah, you too. Have a great holiday. I'm gonna move on to Tracy.
Because I put the strategic plan in the committee staff reports, I just wrote a small report basically. With the recommendation that council pass the strategic plan, with the resolution that can put it in the motions of council. And a little bit of background of the public or the special council meeting you had on November 22nd. So
We have that as a notice of motion, do we not?
and it's in there.
Okay, so we'll deal with that when we come to notices of motion. I thought you had something on,
Couple things there. I can just keep going if you want.
Yes,
My
please.
three I have on there.
okay, please.
So the next one, is, planning report, every year. At this time, I like to give council or planning building update of where we are, where we were in 2023. So, I don't know if anybody has any questions about that. It's pretty self-explanatory. Building permits are up. New dwellings are up this year. As you can see, demolitions are up. Septics are down a bit, but not much.
Any questions on planning and building?
No, I'm just going back to the strategic plan, will we speak on that when we make a motion?
Yes.
Okay.
Seeing none, we'll move on to,
The next one is, we received an email request from Carrie Dunn, from the Mental Health Services of Brentford County. She requested, 2 to 3 hours, a couple times a week in the afternoons, and she would request the Madawaska complex free of charge to see clients when needed.
so again,
There's a
that,
resolution as well. And
that's another resolution in the motions of council, which you can speak to then.
that is it for me.
Thank you. Emergency allow recreation, Joe?
I don't have anything to add to that report because actually I wasn't at that report, at that meeting. That was when I had the surgery on my eye.
Okay,
But I would like to just, the council to be aware that they had a dance with the intent of donating the money to the toy drive from the Killaloe Resource Center and the toy bus on Saturday. I think Councillor Pigeon was there. You've seen pictures of him.
dancing?
Actually, they made the donation yesterday to the resource center in the amount of $1,230.
Well, that's wonderful. Great.
I'm sure they were quite happy. They did take a picture. I have a picture on my phone, I think, if anybody's interested. Of the presentation.
That's great.
So a lot of people did end up showing up,
I mean,
a lot of people there.
I think there was around 70 people.
Yeah, that's good.
That's really good.
I came past about 1:15 and the lights were still on and there was still a number of cars still
Was there? Yeah.
Still there, so
Just to let you know that the money did.
that's the sign of a good event.
Yeah, well, people are looking for something to
It
do.
is kind of funny because I got outnumbered a lot more younger people than there was.
And it's only a number.
But it was really well organized.
Yeah, yeah.
And kudos to the organizers
Oh,
for
on
sure.
your report? Okay.
We have one member of the recreation committee that is really gung ho, and she's a different generation than the rest of us.
Yeah,
So we kind of give her a free rein and she does a good job.
good. Okay, so, I don't have any other reports other than, Brian, you want to give a report?
One thing I just wanted to update, our last meeting that we had at Asset Management, I was asked to go and look at electric charging stations. That was an item that was put on my list. Because there's a timeline on that grant, I just wanted to quickly update council on the grant, on the estimated costs and whether or not council wishes for me to even proceed with a grant application. So looking at the grant that's available, we have until the 31st of January to submit a grant. Given that Christmas is coming up and I leave on the 20th of January, the window just got a lot smaller. But I did reach out to two companies that are in the business of building and selling these electric charging stations. The grant, there's a couple of different kinds. You can get level 2 chargers, which are basically an overnight charger. Or you can get a level 3 charger, which is basically, depending on the size of them, they can range anywhere from 20-minute charge down to about a 2-hour charge. So I kind of went in the middle and said, well, what's a 1-hour charge? What would that look like? It's 100 kV versus a 50. You need to put, according to the grant, you have to install 2 at the same location. And the company that we're dealing with also is a member of the Association of Municipalities of Ontario canoe procurement program. So the municipalities get a bit of a break on them. They're about, the 2 of those are about $150,000.
Just information.
Now, that doesn't include installation,
This is one.
which includes the requirement for an engineering design study to ensure you have phase 3 power available and these other things. So you're probably, in talking with an electric company out of Barry's Bay, they've advised me that quick, rough number, they'd have to get down to the numbers to really nail it down in the $100,000 to $150,000 range for the electrical side. So in total, you're looking in the $250,000 to $300,000 range to put 2 of these electrical charging stations in. The grant is 75% of the total cost to a maximum of $112,500 per unit. So potentially, if it was 300, you might get the 225. So you're on the hook for between $50,000 and $75,000 to install 2 charging stations, and they have to be installed at the same location. I can't put one at each end of the township. They have to be installed at the same location. They provide the credit card payment registry system. They charge an annual fee for that. There's a annual maintenance fee that they charge, and then there's a management fee for this that they charge. So each unit works to about $2,000 a year in management and maintenance fees. So you're looking at $4,000 a year operating cost to the municipality. The going rate is about $25 per hour for charging. That's what they're generally seeing as a rule. You get to set that rate, but I don't know, $4,000 is an awful lot of charges. I don't know if that would be justified, whether the $50,000 to $75,000 is something council wants to get into, given the nature of all the other things we're into. But I was asked to bring it forward. I have till the 31st of January if council wishes to submit something. So I thought I would get this to you as quickly as I could to give you some numbers to work with.
You would also have to pay for the power you use.
That's it. There is a charge from hydro as well. And they're assuming that $25 an hour that they're charging is covering the hydro cost and all of the other bills that they're charging to us. So I don't know that it does. I haven't done any of those numbers. I just quickly went out and said, how much for this, and how much is the potential grant?
I think we would be in a situation as to where they go. Because what are people going to do for an hour? The obvious answer is go grocery shopping, go for a coffee, go for a meal. So that puts them right on the main drag on Highway 60. Where then would they go on Highway 60 for the potential of 4 vehicles being parked? It would have to be in the township property by the Memorial Park.
We'd have to put them at municipal property, whether that would be at the fire hall, at the community center here, at the community center in Madawaska, wherever it was. We'd have to put it in an area where we already have available parking. And we'd have to have phase 3 power available as well. And that there's got to be quote available on the grid. So I didn't even look into where. If you apply for the grant and if you get approved for the grant, you have 2 years to install it. And the grant isn't cash up front, it's a rebate. So you send them the invoicing showing that you spent the money, they make a final determination that you're eligible for 75,000 or 110,000 or however much they feel you're eligible for, and they ship it back. They send it off to you. Like I say, we could get up to 225 is the maximum that we're eligible for.
I can't understand why municipalities are expected to supply this service. Why don't we get into the gas station business as well? You know, it's much more profitable.
I think the whole idea is that you are providing a service, whether or not it's, us or Main Tire or whoever, so that you're drawing people in and they can map their route before they stop, because they do that.
But there's much more people traveling with gasoline powered motors. Why don't we have gas stations?
I know, but we do have to, we have to think of the future too, right?
I think private businesses have to think of the future, the same as somebody puts up a gas station. Somebody should put up an electrical station. If they're so good, there has to be lots of money to be made in it, not taxpayer money.
It's unfortunate the province and the federal government are making this as difficult as it is. Because I thought we're supposed to be following the green initiative, right? For us to fork out all that money, Right, that's a big expenditure if we were to follow that path.
And I think we need to be aware that it's our township dollars that will be paying for that, and it's our residents' dollars that will be paying for that. And to my knowledge, I only know of 4 people that have electric vehicles in our township. There may be more. So we are looking to providing that service for visitors. And yes, we do get visitors and they come to the park in their drives, in their electric vehicles. But I presume the park has charging stations somewhere for them.
No, the only charging station in the vicinity that I'm aware of is at Couples Resort, and the Couples is for their guests. And it's I believe it's a level 2 charger, which is basically an overnight charger. So you're staying at Couples, you charge while you're there, you get in your car and you go home. I think that this is certainly the push for the green economy. All vehicles should be electric by 2035 and all of that the governments are pushing. That either a business is going to come out, as Joe said, and the gas station will install an electric charging station to attract additional customers into their station, or that might be the only way to get charged in the future, because if they eliminate gasoline powered engines and the production of them, then these are going to be predominant. So there must be a business case at some point for someone to acquire these. And certainly right now, if one of the fuel stations in our community or any business chose to go after this grant, they're eligible for it as well at the same rate that we are. So they'd have to bring 25% to the table, or any overrun that overruns the maximum allowable under the grant program.
Yeah,
I'm a bit of a dinosaur here, but electric vehicles, we're all led to believe that they are the be all and end all, and that's the way everybody is going. But there is the possibility of hydrogen cells, and hydrogen being something that is being used down in the Caribbean or the yachting world, most definitely. And they are using hydrogen celled engines. And the Saudis and the oil producers are looking at synthetic oil. Do we know that electric vehicles are going to be the way forward? I'm not so sure they are. Just throwing that out there. I'm not sure that this is something that the council should be putting in place. I think if I was still running All-Star Resort, I would be applying and I would be putting one in there for my people in the cottages, for people travelling up from the city for their trailers, for camping, etc. But I don't believe that it's something that we should be using everybody else's tax dollars to install.
Well, it's going into business. This is a commercial enterprise as far
Yes.
as I'm concerned. You have to do a full business analysis, what your payback period on what your investment is.
another comment?
I do. I appreciate Brian Martin's research on this and the information that is put forward to us. I'm getting back to upper governments making it difficult. I thought the state process would have been a lot easier for us as a municipality to install or get this service implemented within our township.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not in agreement using township funds and taxpayers' money to partially fund this project. So.
Thank you, Councillor Bishop. Any other comments or concerns?
I think it would be an asset if it was cost effective. And by the sounds of it, it wouldn't be, because you're relying on people to actually use it.
Right.
And at 25 o'clock, I don't know. But I still firmly believe somebody should have one, whether or not that's municipality or a business. I just know that you would draw you would draw other people who.
Any other comments or questions? Okay. We have a consensus here then? At this point in time, we won't pursue it. Okay, is there any other staff reports? No? Councillor Jones?
When we were looking at waste management, we asked for you to go away and look at the costing of identification cards. Have you had time to do that? It's not
I
desperately
have.
urgent, but.
I have, and I actually just got pricing during the meeting for those. They've got 3 different types. The ones we did previously were plastic. They're actually $5.50 a piece, $5.50 a piece for the plastic ones. They can do a laminated type one that would be about $3. And they can do just a regular business card type thing that's about $65 for 100. So it would really depend on what council would like. I can certainly go forward before a waste management meeting and get a couple of mock-ups done just to give you an idea of what we might look at. And then you can make a decision from that if you'd like.
Okay, that is less than I was expecting, so thank you for that. I think personally that would be the way forward to help our landfill attendants and to look after our landfills.
Okay,
Just an update on the municipal dog pound. While I was away, they called a meeting and actually had a tour of the facility, which I was wanting to do, just to see where it was, how it was ran, etc. Since then, they've had a resignation, and I see through the minutes that were added that it did speak to that. They have hired 2 part-time people to split the time as they see fit. And my question, I guess, here, and I don't know, do people in the public know we use this dog pound, seeing that it's so new? And because I know through the hunt, there was a pound that was housed at Joe's, and
He signed up for that though. He signed up to be a rescue for hunting dogs.
hunting dogs, okay.
That's part of the Deer Hound.
Okay.
Association.
Yeah, I just was like, oh, I saw that, it was like, well, so could we make sure that that got out into our next newsletter?
I think where I'm confused is that dog pound open? I know we can, as municipality,
Yes,
Mike, if he catches a dog, can take a dog there.
anybody.
Is it anybody then? Okay. So we could. I try to get Home Again involved, and then Home Again usually goes there too, but
That's
we'll probably have a newsletter coming out January, February.
great. If that could get in, that would be wonderful. People know then we're paying for a service that we might as well use, right?
When they have access to.
Yes, and they have good care.
But if you don't lose the dog.
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to move on to council reports. I think we kind of did some of that, but I'm going to round the table. Councillor Collins.
Not a report per se, but I know some of my constituents down on Lyell were a little upset with the tower. And they believe that they were given opportunity to get an information about it, but it was actually a foregone conclusion. And I know that has come through from Infrastructure Ontario, directed, as I say, from the federal government. And I've tried to explain that to them, that that's not to say that they still feel a little bit upset about it. And that they feel that they have no say. There's nothing I can do to make them feel any better about that, but I think it needs to be noted that they are a little unhappy.
Okay, thank you.
There was an open house in Madawaska about that tower. The only people in attendance was the one couple that live right beside the tower. And a reporter from the Gazette and myself. That was it. So there was absolutely no interest other than the people that live right beside the tower. And they talked for a long time with the people from Bell or Rogers that were there.
And I have had a lot of communication with those people and 2 others actually who decided for what unknown reason not to bother showing up, but they were both venting that they felt unhappy about it.
Thank you.
The people that were there at that meeting were suggesting to Rogers that they locate the tower in Hastings Highlands instead of in South Algonquin. I don't think Hastings Highlands is part of that Eastern Ontario connectivity program, and that's where this money is coming from. I didn't say anything, and actually the presenters, they didn't say anything either, but I
So
think
was
they
there
were giving them false
a
hope.
no say anything meeting?
Well, according to the resident, the site plan has already been cleared, which the people from Rogers denied any knowledge of, that they say it shouldn't have been at that stage yet, but
It most definitely has been cleared. You can see it. They've cut down the shrub and bushing
yeah.
in a square area, most definitely, on the corner of that private lot land. And that's the whole crux of it. It's on private land, and there's an agreement with the
Private landowner?
private landowner to put that tower up.
Well, thank you for bringing that forward. Councillor Floyd, anything you'd like to add or report?
No, I don't. I think I've already covered a little bit about the Recreation Committee.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Kuya?
I know, we have the letter from, Polly and the other recreation committee. So if anybody wanted to discuss, we could do that.
It's under action.
It's under the action. Can I just deal with it under action then?
Sure, yeah.
Councillor Fisher?
I don't know if it's so much as a report as per se. It's going to be more of a statement, I believe. I wrote this with mixed thoughts, mixed emotions. One was for the fear of 40 lashes. So I was kind of sitting on the fence whether I should say anything or just be quiet. But I think I'm going to speak forward. And this is regarding to the Integrity Commissioner's report on me. So I'd like to take this moment to publicly speak in regards to the misinterpretation of the Integrity Commissioner's advice. That was my doing regarding the short-term rental discussion. All I was trying to do was express my concerns and add some insight to the issue that has a positive and a negative impact in the township. Unfortunately, this complaint to the Integrity Commissioner's office came at a cost, a financial cost, and unfortunately, the cost of driving a wedge in this community. So I'm hoping from this moment forward that we can use our time, our energy, and our resources to move forward in a positive manner.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Councillor Fisher, thank you. Councillor Rodnick? Councillor Snyder?
No report.
Okay. Thank you very, very much, everyone. Does anyone have any business arising from the minutes? I don't see any. Is there any unfinished business that anyone wants to raise? In terms of correspondence and the action items, we have
New business?
a new business?
Do we have new business? I think is that before or after? Sorry, I'm not looking at my.
It's after information.
All right, great.
Okay. I'm just trying to get back to the action here we have.
Trying to get back to where I am.
So under,
Yeah,
66.
trying to get my page here. So this is just, we don't have to do anything. We have to. So under the action items, we have this project Ontario Echo virtual wound and care and training for regional complex wound care teams. I don't feel that needs a resolution. It's most telling us what the criteria are and what they plan to do. But I'll just ask if any members of council has any comments or concerns or anything.
Where is this program running from? I couldn't figure that one out. And I may have missed it because,
I thought it said it was, throughout Ontario, but I may have missed that too.
it was throughout Ontario.
Across
but-
the province of Ontario, yeah.
But who in the area is doing this is what I guess.
Somewhere it was coming out of somewhere in northern, more northern.
I don't know, Council, if we can do some checking on it. If there's anyone locally that's going to be doing this. Okay,
I just know through the hospital that they do have a wound care clinic.
yes,
And often our people are referred down there, if they are aware
you know,
that it's available, but I was like, well, this is wonderful, but where are you doing the education?
yeah, well, they're looking for letters of support.
Right,
We will be circulating 100 toolkits across Ontario, but then they talk about it being in Northern Ontario. So we'll do some checking, okay?
great.
Thank you. The next one is whether or not we want to support the corporation of the municipality to amalgamate to support the bill amendment to resident bill rates, section 3 of fixing long-term. Did we not do that at the last council meeting, Joe? Did you not bring that forward?
I don't think it was this one.
No, it's a different one, okay.
I think, Councillor Collins has requested that, we endorse this motion.
Councillor Collins, did you request that we endorse this?
I did.
Okay.
I think the wording says it all, explains it all. I don't think you need to go any further with that. I just think it was something that was a value to our township too.
Okay. Do we need a resolution?
It's a resolution in the motion.
Okay. And then with the recreation committee, there is a roof fund request letter. This has been something that's been ongoing for a long period of time. My suggestion to council is that we set up a meeting with this committee and hear them out and hear, you know, because I'm going back in time now. I remember when I was on the recreation committee back in the day before I was even on council. And there was really some concern because there was money in what we called, I think, back then, the Lester Smith account or something like that. And then council has had then the authority to have those funds, because it was under the township of the township. There was money taken back, that was supposedly to do something within the township. And all of that has festered, in my view, and is now kind of coming out here. So I don't know, we need all that history, but just to advise members of council that at that time, council had the authority to bring back the funds because it wasn't being used towards something within recreation. I don't know whatever happened to all those funds, whether they remained in the bank account and under our full business account or whether it just got taken out of recreation and put somewhere else. But there's a lot of history there, and what I see is that history, people are afraid that if we don't do and build a roof, then we're taking back that money, and what is council going to do with it? So my suggestion to members of council is that we have a meeting with this recreation committee and hear what they have to say and their concerns. I don't know whether Councillor Kuyak, you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think since I've been sitting there, there's always been this $55,000-$60,000. Yes, it's been invested, it's been sitting in, you know, getting
nimble,
some interest to it. But the quote, and I think Holly said it here, it would be anywhere from 500 to $1 million to cover that.
Right.
And with a $55,000 or $60,000, you just wouldn't even have enough to try to find grants, etc. So at one point it was like, well, you know, it's been sort of marked for the rink and raise the roof, and it would have to go back to the donors or the community at large to say, you know, here it is. We know this is not attainable. What could we do? And that has been sort of just, it's just been stayed, like sitting. It hasn't been done. And I think from what I gathered from this letter from the group is that they feel that it should be the township that does that. Having said all that, then I think there was talk of resurfacing the rink to try to prolong the length of the season. And if we changed it from asphalt, which it is now, to concrete, that might be how to do that. And then you're still putting the money that was raised or raise the roof to the rink.
Right.
And it's now come to a point where it's like, well, again, I think it goes back as we need public input before that ever happens, or what is decided to do with that money.
Councillor Collins?
When I first came on council, this project obviously has been long running, but I sort of drive around the countryside and it isn't something I've ever seen in England, but lots of barns and equestrian centres and various have these canvas style roof structures. And I don't believe they're $500,000 because farmers are very frugal with their money. And I believe this small wall area and then this canvas style may be the way forward. And I think we should be cognitive. Yes, it would preserve the ice, but also if our summers are going to be hotter and hotter, and melanoma is something that we need to be very, very aware of, this would also provide a shaded area during the summer months for activities like pickleball or even sort of ground hockey or whatever in an enclosed and in shaded area. But I don't believe that anyone ever investigated these fabric canvas style roofing structures. And I have inquired myself. They come with a 50-year warranty on the fabric. Maybe that is something that the Recreation Committee ought to go ahead and see if there's anyone out there that would be prepared to do that, as opposed to a more substantial structure, if you like.
The problem with that is we have to make sure it's engineered and the snow load and meets the criteria for the building code. I don't know if the canvas structure would do that. And I think too is the other issue of how to place it so that the way the rink is actually set, with the distance and how to connect them and the snow that falls in between too.
There's not a lot of distance between the actual building and where the rink starts, and that was always the issue, that if you put a roof on top of the rink, then it's going to create a problem in between the two buildings.
We won't be careful.
No.
Snow.
Mm-hmm.
Those buildings can be a little more expensive than you think.
Yeah, I don't know the pricing
They're
of them. That's why
they're very expensive. I know a number of farmers that use them. I mean, they're cheaper than building a conventional
Yes.
barn, but they're still very expensive, especially for that size.
And my concern is it being used for the public.
Well, that's the other side of the coin too. It's one of those things we're dealing with going into a public building, so they have different standards as far as they go.
I like the idea of the shade. I was there July 1st and playing some games and it was hot.
yes. I think we need to be very aware of this going forward.
Yeah.
I have a friend who lives in Brisbane. He's a psychiatrist, And they call Melbourne the melanoma capital of the world.
Wow.
And they are just about 5 years ahead of everybody else. The way they cover up, the way all of their outdoor facilities are now in the shade. People are not playing or doing any activities out in the open anymore. And should we see the writing on the wall, and if we're going to do something, this, is the way forward, to put some sort of shading up. If you look at any of the new school facilities or daycare facilities, they are putting up shaded areas for play and recess for the children. And I think we ought to be looking at that too, if we're going to do anything, not just for winter, not just for preserving the ice, but for actually offering a shaded area for outdoor pursuit too.
I hear you, Councillor Collins. I think the concern that's coming here, or maybe I'm off, I think the concern that's coming here is the Recreation Committee does not want to see the council take back the money, put it in our general fund. That, because it's feeling that should the money go back to people that donate it towards raise the roof, right? Or what happens with that money and what does it get used for? And if you're going to change where you're going to put the money and do something else, do you then have to go out back to everyone that donated towards raise the roof? So I think there's a whole lot of questions here that have to be kind of fleshed out. So maybe that's what I think this might be all about. And I know for myself, I'm not interested in calling back the money. I'm interested in how
It's
you
not our
move
money,
forward.
It's not our money.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so any other, Councillor Thorne?
Like always, I have an opinion. I don't think you could conceivably fix that problem there for 700,000, but that doesn't mean that it's not a possibility. I was part of the project in Madawaska to get that building built, and we had like $70,000 and we ended up with $1.5 million. I think we did go to the taxpayers for around 100,000 in that. So it's just because it seems impossible, it's not impossible, but I don't think it's possible to put a roof over what is down there because of the building being so close to it. You would have to either relocate the rink or relocate the Lester Smith building, one or the other, which, adds probably double the cost. Because that building that's down there was, I think, about, I remember right, about $275,000 put in that and grant, and you couldn't even come close to that today for that kind of money.
And even the cost of putting a roof on it, every day we
Absolutely.
sit here is the cost is going up.
So I agree with your interpretation that they want to make sure that council doesn't do something with the money without consulting them. I think we should have a meeting in the new year with the Recreation Committee to determine exactly what they want or what route they want to go. I think what route they want to go is to have public meetings, or like an open house type meeting, so that anybody that contributed the money can give their opinion on how it should be spent. I agree 100% that the money was raised in Erie Ward, and it should be spent in Erie Ward. I don't think it should go to any other part of South Algonquin. That's my interpretation. A meeting with the Recreation Committee meeting at some point, and then an open house meeting after that.
Okay, thanks, Councillor. Anyone else?
Just to add, because I was looking at doing the grant to have that resurfaced. I did ask
Stephen Round.
to get us a couple quotes, one for resurfacing with asphalt and the other with concrete, and I do have that information. I would just have to pull it up.
I think he informed me about that, and I think it was about 4 times the cost for concrete over asphalt.
And I do know the Madawaska rink needs to be resurfaced and the pickleball, contingent, have actually requested that.
But at this point, there's nothing wrong with the asphalt that's down there, so if you're not gonna upgrade and put concrete and hoping that you're gonna get longer ice period, there would be no sense to spending your money on it, right?
I don't agree with that. I think both facilities have become much more a year-round facility than a skating rink or a hockey rink.
Yeah.
I think that money spent in resurfacing what's already there.
But it would have to be concrete if you're looking at pickleball, because, the surface needs to be hard and even versus
Well, asphalt is hard to do,
not what's down there right now.
and 25% of the cost of concrete.
Okay, anyone else? Okay. That's, where we're at in terms of the action items. The next item is information items for your information to read in your time and leisure, or maybe you've done it last night. Anything under new business?
Yeah, I do, and
Oh, I have something under that correspondence.
Okay,
That
I'm
number-
sorry, may I go back, Councillor?
That number 3, the report from Ainley, I guess it is, consultant engineers.
Oh, right, sorry.
They're saying that the job is going to start 1 kilometer west of Allen Lake Road in Sherwood Township. That is Dickens Township. I think it should be 1 kilometer east of Allen Lake Road, which is the boundary between South Algonquin and Madawaska Valley, and it's actually Jones Township there. It's not Sherwood. So I don't think this report should have came to our township at all, because none of the work is going to be done in our township.
So.
I don't have, I wouldn't be going forward with this consulting. They got the township wrong. They got the direction wrong. I wouldn't trust them to cut the grass on the side of the road, let alone put culverts.
Zero, in the west side.
What page was that?
Yeah, I know. This is on Highway 60. I don't know if somebody should, tell them that how wrong they are, but I don't think it
Take it
is.
under advisement. Maybe send it to the appropriate place.
110.
Page 110, for anyone that's maybe trying to find it.
And it's addressed to somebody that hasn't worked in the township for 6 months.
Well, that happens regularly. Okay, yeah, they obviously haven't done their homework, that's for sure.
And the key map that they provided as figure 1 does show that they're coming across the district, the boundary between, South Algonquin and, Madawaska Valley.
I don't know.
The key map that they have.
Okay,
they would probably be doing this stuff too and around that turnaround, right? They have to dig up a little bit.
Well, 1 kilometer west of Allen Lake Road is, Spectacle Lake Road.
Yes.
yeah,
Like, why wouldn't they just say Spectacle Lake Road? And then they said it was in Sherwood Township. Well, they're 30 kilometers from Sherwood Township.
Sherwood.
Sherwood
On the other
Township.
side of Harry's Bay.
It's Pog Lake Road. So north of Berry's Bay.
yeah. Okay, well, we'll follow that up and just send it back to them. Tell them they should get the information correct.
There is a culvert at Spectacle Lake Road that hasn't been changed for quite a while.
Okay. Thanks, Councillor Floyd. Might go back to you, Councillor Kuya.
Great, under new business?
Yes.
I just would like to spend a couple minutes and talk about Economic Development Committee. We've been working very hard getting our official plan, our strategic plan, the asset management plan up and going. Still lots of work to do, I'm sure, on them, but they're there. We've already started to look at housing. I think it would be prudent for us to become educated in what economic development is and how that pertains to us as a municipality. Listening to our housing conversation on my side, it's, it's just not it's just not all businesses, it's affecting, you know, the two big mills in our area too are having difficulty recruiting. Is that because of housing? I'm sure. But they are looking at, having to close. I know here at the mill, they've had to close the second, mill a few times now because of lack of staff. Does that mean that it's, you know, looking pretty grim and bleak for our township? I would think that we would want to maybe look a little bit more into it. So I'm suggesting and recommending that we get some education for us in regards to this, to see how the committee functions, what our duties are, etc.
Okay, thank you.
In addition to what you've just said, I do believe that the mills are looking to bring in migrant workers.
Yes.
And put up accommodation accordingly to take care of them. And I believe also the Sugar Bush down on Lyell is looking to do the same thing. And they are putting the workers into an establishment that has obviously had to be checked out by our buildings official and fire officer to make sure that they're safe. So there are 3 potential businesses here that are looking to bring in migrant workers.
It just goes in a vicious circle. We, you know, it really does. But if you look at how vibrant at one time south of Algonquin was, you know, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and to what it is now, you can see the gradual decline. And I would, you know, would think that we as a township would want to start looking into 2 things. What we could do and not do. So I really am hopeful that education would be our first step.
I know as a township, we've always said that we don't particularly want to be landlords. But is this something we should revisit? Is it something that we should, as a township, go after grant and money and building costs and build a facility of affordable homes and us be the landlords of it? We have staff, or we could increase staff to actually be custodian, maintenance, etc., and actually have these as affordable homes. And yes, over time, actually recoup our costing. I'm not sure. I mean, in the past, we've never admitted that we want to be landlords. But unfortunately, and I hate to bring this up, back in the UK, many years ago, the situation was there and local councils had to become landlords. There had to be property built. There had to be made available to people with less means. And that is still around. I mean, in Margaret Thatcher's time, a lot of those were sold off to private enterprise in time, but there are still a lot of councils and municipalities that are landlords and people they rent to them at a price that is affordable to them on means testing. I think this is a really serious concern, and we've gone round and round looking, is there anyone out there? Is there anyone that can build? Is there anyone that will do that? And no one's stepping forward. If we need to get anything done, maybe it's something that council needs to address, or at least have another look at. As being partners, maybe we can partner with the Algonquins, or we can partner with somebody as a township partnership, maybe, if we don't want to do it on our own.
I was part of the housing task force when they were doing the open discussion, and it was interesting, very good. But I think they said February that they would be bringing back a report for us to review and look at. But at that point, you know, who knows what is needed. And I think that's where we're stuck, right? Is who knows what actual type of housing is needed. Again, if you say seniors and the seniors sell their house to go in there, then their house now is, you know, worth $500,000-600,000, and can those low income people afford to do that?
They cannot.
You know, so it's again just one of those
and it
There's
gets
a
sold
service.
as a second home by
Yeah.
somebody living in the city.
Yeah,
And we end up being a second home community.
right.
Okay. Any other,
Part of the problem is though too, when you're looking at building housing, I mean, building costs are up over $400 or $500 a square foot.
Mm-hmm.
What's happening is the rental market is totally shifting. The people talk about affordable housing. What's the definition of that? Because people won't build rental properties if they're not gonna make a profit. It's just not gonna happen. And we're still dealing, one of the things that we're dealing with is we don't have any land.
Yeah.
There is land, there's land at the back of the school, most definitely, that is sitting empty.
So
that's DSAP.
That's DSAP.
But that's the crunch of the matter. We're waiting for DSAP to say, we don't know what they're going to say. That's who we're working at right now to say, we need land, we need resources, and we need your help, and it's our time, right? I don't want to delay your comments, Councillor Kuya, but I really believe that, we need to be, I personally, I don't even know any municipal act whether we can be landlords. But that being said, I think that the crunch of the matter is we don't have land. If we do get some money or can raise some money, whatever, we don't have the land to do it. So if we don't have the land, I don't know how we're ever going to even get housing, never mind affordable housing. So the question is there an entrepreneur out there, and I believe that there is, that would build, if there's land available, that would build apartments or build a place, a room place or whatever. I believe they're out there. But until we can, as a township, can say, well, we can work with whomever and provide some land for you, then how do we do it, right? So yes, we have a problem, but some people are saying to me, well, it's not the township's problem to build houses. So we're kind of stuck, in my view, how it's like the chicken and egg, which comes first, right? So, so
I do
I'd like to
believe there are,
pursue that,
I do believe there are people out there with parcels of land that would be prepared to sell them.
Well, there's people out there that I've heard of, not people, but some people, that if we had less than an acre, would consider dividing some of the land. But we're still stuck on that, right? Can that happen? Well, I'm not hopeful that the Ministry of Municipal Affairs, or which ministry is going to agree to do that. But they may, if push comes to shove, there's a housing need out there. I don't understand why the government can't move on some of these issues. Because then we're stuck. Councillor Ford.
We have a very strange situation here. There's more houses in the communities of Whitney and Madawaska right now than there ever has been in the past.
There's one person
Pardon me?
one person in them.
And there's only half the people that there was
Yeah.
40, 50 years ago. So we have a lot of houses with one person in them or two people, and a lot of houses that are used as a vacation home that for 300 days of the year are sitting vacant.
Yeah, you're absolutely
I don't know, I'm just saying it as a strange observation. I don't know how to fix it. I'm not willing to share my house with somebody else, I know that. And I'm in one of those ones with two of us in a house, and a 3-bedroom house,
But we do have, Council Point, just an answer to your question, you're absolutely right. We do have a lot of people right in Whitney that are one person in a home that have said, if there was a senior citizen complex, I would sell and move into that immediately. So then my house would become up for resale or whatever. But then you also have some people in the community that say, if there was a senior citizen place that I could go and buy or rent, then maybe my child could come back to their homes. So yeah, there's a lot, not a lot, but we have a fair amount. I can just walk around and talk around this town and see how many widows are living alone here.
Well, with our average age at 57 years old, there's obviously a lot of people that are between 70 and 80 and would probably welcome an opportunity to live in a place where they didn't have to cut the grass or shovel the snow.
Exactly.
You know, I kind of consider that myself.
And the
Somebody to do so.
and exorbitant heating costs throughout the winter. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not going down either. So, and access, getting themselves to the grocery store because no one will deliver groceries, etc., etc.
Yeah.
There's a lot of issues here for seniors, most definitely.
Well, it's funny you mentioned this exact topic. It was on my way in, I heard on the radio that coming to Brentford County is a service that it's for senior women that are living alone. It finds them like sort of a roommate or a place to live where both of them can go and split the costs.
Right. But, and to that point, that was a suggestion, but a lot of people within this township will say, no, I don't want anybody living with me that I don't know. So I was watching that and wondering how that is working out because they'll match you up with somebody. But in terms of people within Whitney, they say, I don't want any stranger coming to live with me. So I don't know. It's interesting. It's an interesting concept.
It did sound interesting and some, you know, they interviewed a couple of people that were quite excited about it and interested in exploring it further.
We had
Only a
some,
30-second.
we had a couple of widows here that actually used to rent out their rooms. We had people coming in for the summer. They just went out, they rented rooms, they got room and board. But that's gone by the wayside. That's not happening anymore.
I'm aware of a new rental in Madawaska that I would describe the place as ramshackle.
Yeah.
$1,800 a month for rent.
And that's probably not including heat and hydro.
No, for sure, it does not.
No. I'm gonna go back to you, Council.
I was gonna just say,
Go ahead with
this
that.
is great discussion on housing. And it probably fits underneath economic development, but that is what I was addressing. And what do people think about some education for us as we sort of step off and move forward?
Sign up for that.
Absolutely.
We need housing, we need jobs,
Yes,
and the two have to go together.
right. So we're waiting for the housing report.
January, hopefully, we're pushing for January.
hope. Yeah.
February, pardon me.
February?
Yeah, so.
And so I, you know, in the meantime, then to get our committee of the whole as it sits, some education. And I think way back in June, maybe April, June, somewhere around there, we also granted one seat to the public, and Barney was the chosen at that point and named. So I would suggest that when we do our education, we have him present too, so that we're all on the same playing field and so that there are roles and responsibilities. Something, yeah.
Makes sense. I mean, we have to start somewhere, right? Like you said, everything's a catch to.
Yeah.
We don't have schools, so we don't get young people coming. There's lack of jobs, or they can't get staff and
Right.
everything kind of
Circles.
and stuff, but we gotta pick a starting point somewhere.
Somewhere. Yeah, no, I agree. And I think Brian has reached out to someone that he knows to do an education day for us.
That'd be Dr. David Robinson. He's been an economist for 40 years. He's he's a professor at Nipissing University. He actually taught the ECDEF course that I started a year ago, I guess it was, year and a half ago. So I'll reach out and have a conversation with him and coordinate some activity related to bringing, you know, roles and responsibilities in the municipality, et cetera, related to ECDEF, as well as his long tenured experience working in Northern Ontario on what works, what doesn't work, and see if we can't coordinate a half-day session with him.
That would be great. So the other thing is Roma has a concurrence session on role as well. So I am going to that conference in January, so it'll give us some insight, hopefully.
I too. will be going.
Oh, are you going? Great.
And me too.
Anything else? Council Quinn?
Not on economic development, no.
Okay. Anything else on your new business?
I just want to comment on the, housing. Getting back to housing, I don't need to be wasting any more time on this subject.
Okay.
The provincial government, I think, is partially to blame for people reluctantly to get into the long-term rental market. I never got to finish exactly what I was trying to say at the last asset management meeting when, former councillor Shallow was here present. I think I might have insulted his plans or his ideas. But I understand why he's doing what he's doing because of the way the long-term rental market is now. And it is more geared towards the rentee than it is for the property owner.
Yeah, they have more rights.
They have more rights. So this, I get it. I understand why a property owner would be hesitant to rent their place long-term for fear of that.
Thank you, Councilor Pishon. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you, Councilor Kuyak. I'm going to move on then, if there is no other new business, to motions of council. Let's find them here. Motions of council, it's on in my handy dandy book here.
Page
Page
114.
114. So the first one is on the mover and a seconder to approve the request Carrie Dunn for the use of the Madawaska complex free of charge. I need a mover and a seconder, and I'll Councilor Kuya, Councilor Pijal, been duly moved and seconded.
The Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin approves the request from Carrie Dunn, Mental Health Services of Brentford County for the use of the Madawaska complex free of charge for a couple activities.
Any discussion on this motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Sorry, discussion,
Sorry,
I was going to say, if this is a mental health consult or work that she wants to do, I think that complex is huge. And I think if the smaller building would possibly be a better fit for her. If it's been maybe offered.
What's smaller building?
The Duquois Centre, the Rink building, the smaller building there, because
The only thing with that is in the winter time,
Yeah.
the attendants are gonna be coming in and out, and so that's why it wasn't offered.
okay, I just think if I had, I mean, fortunately I do not, but that's a very big room.
Yeah. That was discussed with Carrie about the size, and she said that didn't bother her.
It doesn't bother her, but it may bother potential people going into that building.
Well, I think she probably had that discussion with her
Okay,
clients, but yeah, we can also
fair-
offer
fair
that.
comment, it's,
Depending on what her schedule, winter months, so I'll just leave it up to her, but as long as we have resolution of council that she's able to have either or building for a couple hours a week, then.
I mean, maybe even the classroom, you know, the fire.
Yeah.
hall
She's probably
classroom.
looking for some privacy too.
Yeah, that was my thoughts.
That's
and-
just that, but you know, once this gets to prove too, it's going to be public knowledge, so,
Yeah.
you know, so. Anyway, thank you for
Just make
your
sure it'll be
comment.
accommodated.
Yeah, it needs to be accommodated somewhere, yeah.
Manage the rest.
All of those sites that you quoted are all being heated anyway, so it's no additional cost to the township whether she's using a big building or a small building.
No, it was
And-
more being daunting,
If
being a
I'm-
big building.
If I'm thinking of presentation, the rink building it's exactly that, it's a rink building, it's a little dingy, it's not as clean. In the wintertime, people will be working there in the afternoon. I think our community hall is kind of a showcase and
Yeah.
kind of like the idea of it being used more.
It's a happy place.
Yeah,
was a happy place on Saturday night.
We hear. Okay, so, any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed, it's carried unanimously. Next one is, I'm going to move on a seconder to move the regular council meeting of January 3rd to January 10th. Basically, it's because everyone's come back just on holidays on the 3rd. Tracy, sorry, go ahead.
I need to move it a second. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Councillor Kuyak moved it, I think.
Oh, sorry.
That,
I wasn't
we
looking.
needed a good.
Okay.
anyways, so
The
that's
Kuyak
good.
counselor.
Okay. The council for the corporation, the township of South Algonquin agrees to move the regular council meeting of January 3rd, 2024 to January 10th, 2024.
Been duly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously. The next one is the one that we talked about earlier, to support the amendment to the resident bill of rights. I'm looking for a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councilor Pigeon, seconded by Councilor Fort.
That council for the corporation of the township of South Algonquin supports the resolution from the corporation of the municipality of Tamagami to support bill amendment to the residents' bill of rights set out in section 3 of fixing long-term care act.
Been duly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, it's carried. The next one is looking for moving a seconder to approve the strategic plan for 2023-27 prepared by Wayfinders. A mover and a seconder. Don't everyone jump at once there.
Well, I'd like to speak to it, so I'll move it first, so I
Moved by
can speak to it.
Councilor Kuyak. Do I have a seconder? If we don't have a seconder, then we can't discuss it.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Councilor
Thank you, so I can
Florence.
open my mouth up.
That council for the corporation of the township of South Algonquin approves a strategic plan for 2023 to 2027 prepared by municipal government wayfinders.
It's been duly moved and seconded. Councilor Kuyak, you would like to discuss this?
Yes, a couple things. I think that the structure of it is excellent. It's excellent plan. Moving forward, it certainly will assist us in doing our own, and that we'll never have to go back and get it done again, because the bases are there. Two things. One is the vision statement that is part of this is very similar to that of an organization within our town, or within our township. And that we should probably look at changing it, ours, to something. And again, it's you know, it's the wordsmithing, and the other things that have come out of people's thoughts and things are more wordsmithing, and I feel that this document has been done properly. It had the stakeholders, it had our input, it had staff input, community input. So all of us were based on that. And now it's at this level for us just to approve it and move forward. So I'm in agreement with as it sits, except with that vision statement needing to be rejigged.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments, Councilor Florence?
First of all, I don't agree with Councillor Kuyak's perception of this. I was underwhelmed by the presentation. I certainly thought that the presenter should have been at the end of the table presenting it, and not on Zoom, 100 kilometers away doing it. I think it was highly unprofessional. Under the action items and page 43, I don't know why, maybe nobody brought it up to them, but Erie Road is missed in the repair paved surfaces. It originally was paved we turned it into a gravel road because it was gonna cost too much, but it should be on the list of things that we have to do to return it to the condition that it was previously. And all of the pictures that are in here are pictures of South Algonquin, except I don't recognize the picture of that house on page 56. I'm thinking that's just a stock picture they pulled off the internet or something. It looks like a Quebec style roof on it. I don't know why all the other pictures are scenes in South Algonquin, and picture of a residence is not, unless somebody recognized that house, but I don't.
I think we can find out.
So I think it was my understanding that, and because I too had issues with how things were prioritized, was that when they were doing consultation with staff, they were the ones that brought forward what they felt was in need to do for this time period, for 4 years or whatever this goes for. And that we have to sort of, in my mind, I think, rely on the staff to know, the managers to know what is needed, how they prioritize them, the ranking of them was, I did ask about that, but again, I think we have to rely on our management staff.
Well, I guess my concern is, if we don't get this passed, where are we at? Is it gone, lost? We start over?
It's the motion before you, so if you don't pass it, then you need a no motion for reconsideration,
You
so
know, so that takes a while.
to bring it back, yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's dead for 2 years.
I'm not suggesting that it not be passed. I'm just suggesting that
Some changes,
we maybe didn't get. the
and we
best
can
bang
do
for
that.
the buck.
Mhm.
We can do that. We'll get those questions answered. I mean, I think that we can find out where the house is. I don't think that's a problem. I think that the area road thing can be fixed.
I also think the Major Lake Road,
Is on there.
It's
I
on.
couldn't see it when I looked, but I may have missed it, so.
No, I think it's on there.
Okay, in terms of the vision statement, we can work on that.
Absolutely. I mean, any amendment, subject to the amendments, we can bring amendments back to it, to another to the next asset management meeting for further consideration in January, if you wish.
I just didn't want to see this lost and not back 2 years ago.
No, there's too much work and money involved.
Right.
Well, my complaints are very
Minor.
trivial, I guess, in the whole scheme of things.
Right.
Like the whole presentation, I thought was lacking. I was expecting more.
Okay.
And I think it gives us a good base, like Joan mentioned, I think it gives us a good starting point.
It certainly gives us, in 4 years, when everybody's sitting down to do this again, you have the basis there.
Mhm.
You have your pillars and your overall strategic direction underneath each pillar, how we get, and I went home yesterday thinking about this more, you know, maybe the action item, maybe that's where, maybe it's the word action that throws me, but I'm good, I'm moving forward.
Okay, so it's been duly moved and seconded. We've had a discussion. Can I call the question? Okay, all in favor? Can we all vote or not vote?
I'll vote with
The amendment.
With the amendments.
Yeah.
Do you want me to reread the resolution? And I'll include with amendment? Okay. The Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin approves the strategic plan for 2023 to 2027 prepared by municipal government wayfinders.
With the amendment to
With
redo
per
the
the
vision
amendments
statement.
discussed or something.
With the amendment to review and rewrite the vision statement.
But was there other things as well, like the road and the just? put the
I think
vision-
those other things are pretty minor and we can just left that them. Council Floyd, would be you okay with that?
Yeah, I'll just vote against it.
Okay. Okay, do you want them in?
Oh, I don't care. I'm gonna vote against it.
Oh, okay. Okay. You can't. Yeah.
I just brought it to your.
Move it,
attention.
well, you can't move and you can't second a motion and vote against.
I'm sure you can.
Okay. Okay. Okay, it's been duly moved and seconded. Is there any other discussion? All in favor?
When Councillor Kuyak mentioned the mission statement, you mentioned that it's the mission statement of the township that should be changed, not the mission statement of the strategic plan.
No, it's the vision of the strategic plan as listed.
You
Councillor,
mentioned something about working on our own.
Councillor Kuyak is saying that the vision statement that is in there, Councillor Florence, is the same vision statement as somebody else in the
Similar.
township.
Similar.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions, comments? We're gonna try this again. Been duly moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Okay, those are the motions of council. And moving on to bylaws, the bylaw is before you, it's on my page 115.
Yeah.
So I need a mover and a seconder to that, bylaw that's been listed, and Tracy will read it once I get a mover and seconder, be read first and deemed read a second time. Do I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Collins,
Let's try and get back to it.
seconded by Councillor Sidoff. Are you okay, Councillor Florence?
Page 115.
My mouse is broken.
Do you want me to read it?
How do I change that to a certain page?
Okay, so that bylaw 2023-772 rental agreement between township and DSAB for 9 Post Street. Bylaw 2023-773 maintenance agreement between township and His Majesty the King in right of Ontario for the Opeongo River Provincial Park and the Upper Madawaska River Provincial Park. Bylaw 2023-774, appointment of the Committee of Adjustment members. Bylaw 2023-775, agreement between Township and Product Care Association of Canada for lighting materials. Bylaw 2023-776, memorial and dedication policy. Bylaw 2023-777, parking bylaw. And last bylaw 2023-778, confirming the proceedings of council.
Been duly moved and seconded. It's been read a first time and be deemed to read a second time. The discussion, Councillor Florence?
I noticed in there that part of this bylaw is the township's level of services bylaw.
Yes.
And that bylaw has to be upgraded. I noticed a few discrepancies in there. It's not enough to not go ahead with passing this motion, but sometime in the near future, and I'm surprised they weren't already done because some of it was a few years ago. It's about mostly in the winter schedule of roads that we formerly did not maintain in the wintertime and now we do. So we have to look at that. But that's our own bylaw, not really. It's just as an appendage to this. But
Joe, if you want to send me an email just detailing those couple of things, what I'll do is I'll look at the schedule and maybe I can bring forward a resolution or bring that information to asset management, and then we can look to bring forward a resolution to amend the schedule specifically for those roads.
Yeah.
And I'm not mistaken, I think this agreement says that if there's a change in any of the appendixes, that it would be just updated.
Yeah, it's just we're just going to maintain to the standard we've established for those roads that are relevant to their parks.
I understand that. And it's certainly not a reason not to vote for this agreement.
But no, I appreciate you catching those errors, and I certainly would be happy to clear those up, Joe.
Okay. Any other discussion? Councillor Bishop?
Yes, getting back to bylaw 772, the rental agreement between DSAB and us for the building on Post Street. The rent is based on what?
It's what they're currently paying and have been, so we're looking at, it'll have an inflationary amount. The problem that we had with DSAB was we had no formal leases in place. So we wanted to establish formal leases with liabilities and protections and all of the requirements.
So this is the first go with this?
For 9 Post Street, we recently did one not long ago for the ambulance space. So yes, this is the first go at it.
Wow.
This is where the resource center is, isn't it?
That is correct, yes.
Yeah, one will hear that, but no, I didn't realize that we had no,
Yeah, no, there was a handshake agreement between the township and DSAB and they paid rent for the facility.
Yeah.
So we're formalizing it.
well, okay. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. I'm going to call the vote then. All in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously. So I need a mover and a seconder now to have this read and be read a third time and passed. Do I have a mover, please? Councillor Collins, seconded by Councillor Rodnick.
That bylaw 2023-772 rental agreement between township and DSAP for 9 Post Street. Bylaw 2023-773 maintenance agreement between township and His Majesty the King and Right of Ontario for the Opiongo River Provincial Park and the Upper Madawaska River Provincial Park. Bylaw 2023-774 appointment of committee adjustment members. Bylaw 2023-775 agreement between Township and Product Care Association of Canada for lighting materials. Bylaw 776 memorial and dedication policy. Bylaw 2023-777 parking bylaw. And bylaw 2023-778 confirm the proceedings of council.
Okay. This resolution has been read, moved by and seconded. And I'm asking for any discussion. Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor? Opposed, is carried unanimously. The next item on our agenda is a resolution moving to a closed session, but we don't have any items for a closed session at this point in time. So I'll move into number 19, a motion to adjourn this council meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Councillor Floyd, second by Councillor Rodney.
A council for the corporation of the township of South Algonquin adjourns the regular council meeting of December 6, 2023 at 11:24 a.m.
Duly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Opposed, it's carried. Thank you very much, everyone. It's been a really good meeting.
Right. I can't.
I'm sure, I don't know.
I can't get on. Because my nose is.
Trying to get, we're still on YouTube, everyone.
If it would have been a close,